If you feel as if life is just so hard for you right now, like it's not even fair, the amount of shit that you're going through right now, this video is for you. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Birdie Lee. I am a burnt out beauty boss turned digital nomad. And on this channel, I just share my life experience as an entrepreneur, as a mom, and just, lessons that I've learned throughout the years, living this thing we call life. Now, in today's video, I want to speak directly to my girlies who have been called rebels. If you're Hmong, we have this term where they call us polais. I want to talk specifically to you. So if you are not a rebel, if you are not a polai, or you've never been called those things, feel free to, scroll past this video. But if this is you, stick around because, baby, you clicked on this video for a reason. And the reason you're here is because I'm pretty sure you are going through a phase in your life right now where you just feel like the universe is just against you. It doesn't matter how much fucking manifesting you do or how much, how many affirmations you write or repeat to yourself every day. The universe just keeps kicking you in the ass. So I want to talk to you, okay? I want to talk to you. You see, the thing that nobody talks about is that life does not give us things that we cannot handle. Whatever your dream is, whatever your goal is, whatever that next level looks like to you, all the things that you're going through right now, it's just preparing you for that next level. Do you really think that people got to where they got today because it was handed to them? Yes. Some people just come from money, but like the most of us, we don't have that luxury. So why do you think that not everybody is where you want to be? It's either one, they quit before they got there, or two, they just weren't meant for that. They might have wanted it at one point in their life, but it wasn't meant for them. It's not their true calling. And so they might have tried it for a little bit, but they completely pivoted and shifted their, their goals and their dreams because it just wasn't meant for them. Everybody's definition of success is different. But the key here is what you're going through right now, all the BS that you're going through right now, the way that you're feeling, it's not random. You told the universe that you wanted this. So now the universe is trying to prepare you for that next level. Because do you want to know why you were called a rebel? Do you want to know why they called you a polai? It's because you wanted to do things that they didn't believe in. I am a child of immigrants, so I totally get it. And it took a very long time for me to understand this. It took me a long time to understand that the reason why our parents and, our grandparents thought that the traditional route was the only way to become successful. I'm sure you've all heard it, right? I'm sure you've heard that from your parents or, uncles and aunts and whatever. The only way to become successful in life is to go to school, get good grades, get a college education, get a nice 9-to-5 job that has nice benefits, and then have a family. And then you will live happily ever after. That is the traditional route that almost every parent wanted us to go through. And so the reason they called you a rebel, the reason they looked at you or viewed you as itu polai is because you did not want to follow the societal norm. You did not want to follow this traditional path that was their dream for you. It was not yours. And you are the one kid in the family who saw that traditional route and you were just like, oh, hell no, that is not for me. I was not born for that. I was born to do something great. And I can almost guess right now, from a young age, as a kid, there was this little voice in your head that kept repeating to you, I'm going to become something one day. I was meant for more. And you probably didn't know what the heck that meant, because you were a kid. But that little voice kept repeating that to you over and over and over again. And your interests, your hobbies, your likes, the things that you liked doing, the things that made you other people saw it as, okay, yeah, she's just being a kid. And then as you grew up, you were still doing those things. For example, I'll give you an example about myself. I was always a very artsy person. I was always in the accelerated art programs in elementary school. I was always in choir all throughout high school too. I had solos in choir. And so I loved graphic design. I loved computers. But my parents viewed those things as hobbies. So they were just like, oh yeah, she's just a kid exploring, just having fun, playing games and whatever. But as I grew up into high school, they would ask me, hey, what do you want to do when you graduate? And I'm like, oh yeah, well, I want to go into this. And it was always music, arts, or arts related, computer related, something like that. And they would just look at me and be like, nope. You can't do that. You're never going to find money doing that. You need to go to school to become a doctor, a lawyer, a pharmacist. Typical Asian parent conversation, right? And in my head, I was just like, no, that's not what I'm going to do. Once I turn 18, you can't tell me what to do anyways. So, okay, sure. If that's what you want me to do, I will still go to college, but not for that, because that is just not something I want to do. And so I was very confused growing up, because all they kept telling me was, your ideas are wrong. You are never going to find a life or a career doing that. You have to do this year after year after year. And then I got very confused, because I was like, well, at that point, right? At that point, I'm almost 18, almost an adult. And I started thinking like, well, that I'm good at these things. You see what I can do. Like, you've seen it all these years. I've literally been doing this stuff since I was a child. How come you don't believe in me? I know. And here's the thing that bothered me the most was they would always say, Hmong people can never do that. You are a Hmong girl. You can never do that. You are supposed to get educated, start a family, and raise your family, and be a good housewife. Those were the things that I was supposed to become. And not that there's anything wrong with that. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all. I have a lot of friends who are stay-at-home moms. They are great mothers and they love it. And I love that for them. But it's just not what I wanted to do. But to my parents, that was the only way out. That was the only way to live life. And because I never believed that for myself, because I never wanted that for myself, when I started to rebel, right? This is where the rebel name started getting attached. This is where the Paul Line name started getting attached to me. When I started to rebel and be like, no, I'm gonna explore. You cannot keep me cooped up in this house. You cannot only allow me to go to school and come back. How the heck am I supposed to learn anything about life? And so when I started rebelling, and I will tell you in a second how I started rebelling, which was bad in their eyes. When I started to rebel in high school, that is when shit turned bad. Okay, so how I started to rebel was I wouldn't come home right away after school. My friends and I, we would take the city bus downtown, hit up the mall, or we'll just go, hang out with some friends, or on the weekends, late at night, I'll sneak out to go hang out with my boyfriend, or but I always came home, and so because I just wanted to explore, they automatically tagged me with this bad name, with this bad reputation. And then there was one instance in middle school. I had a boyfriend at the time. It was freshman year. I had a boyfriend at the time, and I decided to leave after school with him, and just to go hang out. And I ended up not coming home for a couple days not because I didn't want to come home or that I wanted to run away. That wasn't my intention at all. It was the fact that I knew it was late. I knew that I went against my parents' words. I purposely didn't answer their phone calls because I was scared of them. I was legit scared of them. I knew that if I went home, I was going to get fucking yelled at, and I just didn't want to hear it. Like, I didn't want to deal with it. So my safe place at the time was to stay with my boyfriend because I just didn't want to deal with, like, my parents yelling at me. But then, of course, you know, they reported me as a runaway. The cops got involved, you know, when they finally found us. I didn't even run away, okay? Let me tell you guys, if I wanted to run away, I would have. I was literally just 10 minutes across town, okay? So, but they labeled me as a gangster runaway. And and when I came back home, it just proved my point yet again. And so I was like, this is exactly why I didn't fucking want to come home. Because I'm scared of you guys. Like, you don't believe in anything that I do. You don't allow me to do anything besides school-related things. And you're pushing me away, but because you're pushing me away and I'm scared of you, which is why I didn't want to come home to deal with you, I'm now labeled as the bad guy. I'm a rebel because I ran away, which I did not, but it doesn't matter how many stories I tell them, they're never going to believe me. So I'm like, this is why I don't want to listen to you guys anymore, because whether it's good or bad, you don't believe me anyways, right? If you can relate to that, please let me know in the comments, because this is something that I know I'm not the only person who's gone through this. And especially as the oldest and the oldest daughter at that, I had a lot of pressure put on me. I had to be the perfect one. I had to be the kid who went to college and achieved all these great academic things. But hello, you guys knew from day one that's not what I wanted to do. I've told you over and over. As a kid, I told them that. I remember in elementary school, I told them the first time they asked me what I wanted to do as a grown-up, I straight up told them I wanted to become a volleyball player. Why? Because I grew up in the sandbox next to the volleyball court that my dad used to play volleyball with his boys all the time. I grew up in a sandbox because I was always at the park with my dad. I watched him play volleyball ever since I was born. So why would I not want to become a volleyball player? At one point, he started playing soccer. I loved soccer. I wanted to join soccer and they didn't even let me join. So like, this is what I mean, right? Like, it's like, you exposed me to these things, which is what I grew up liking. And then when you ask me what I want to do with my life, I tell you the one thing that I grew up seeing, that I enjoyed, that I wanted to do, and you're going to say no to me. But I'm the rebel. And I'm the balai because I didn't listen to them. Because all I wanted to do was explore and just have relationships with my friends outside of school, and they wouldn't let me do that, right? So that's where the rebel comes into play. That's where the balai comes into play. And so let me tell you something about being a rebel or being a balai, okay? The reason you were given that name, it's not because you were bad. It is because they did not see the bigger picture. They did not see the value in what you had to bring. They did not see what you saw because it was not meant for them. And I try to give my parents grace. Well, we do have a better relationship now that I'm older. But now I do understand why they felt the way they felt, or why they believed in the things that they believed, because I get it. It's trauma, right? For them, you know, having to flee a country, having to, you know, escape war, coming to a brand new country that they knew nothing about. I understand. With them, they grew up in a world, in a timeline where survival was the only thing. The end goal was that you just had to survive. And so I get it. So they need stability. They need that certainty. So I understand why they pushed college on me so hard. But that doesn't mean that it didn't come with trauma, though. That doesn't mean that there are things that I grew up with that I'm still trying to fucking work through now. And but like I said, you know, I'm trying to forgive and, you know, try to understand it from their point of view and try to not let it get to me, because I am an adult now, and ultimately I live my life the way I want. That's my entire brand, is, you know, living your own freedom, creating your own freedom. And so, but these are things that people don't talk about, though. And so that's why I decided to talk about it today, because, you know, these are things that have to be talked about. And I know that, like I said, I know that I'm not the only person going through these things. And I'm 36. Okay, am I 36? Holy shit, how old am I? I am 36. I am 36. And I've been on a healing journey for quite some time. I've also been on a spiritual journey, you know, for like, I'd say like a year. But the healing, you know, when people talk about healing and, you know, overcoming generational trauma, overcoming generational curses, I feel like, you know, people talk about it as if it's something that you can just do one time and then you're healed and you're good to go. No, these are things that you're gonna continue to have to go through. The healing never stops. You might have healed from one thing, but years from now, there could be something that comes up that could, you know, trigger something again, or something new. Like for example, I'm a mom. And as much as I tried telling myself that I was never gonna raise my daughter the way that I was raised, it doesn't matter how much I've healed or how much time has gone by, you know, since I started my healing journey. That doesn't matter. I still find myself speaking to my daughter or reacting to things the same exact way my mother did to me. And I hated it. I hated the relationship I had with my mom. We did not have a relationship at all. To be honest, I hated her back in high school. We just did not have a good relationship. And, you know, and so when I had my daughter, I told myself, I'm like, I am never going to raise or treat my daughter the same way that I was when I was growing up. But there were so many times that I found myself doing the same thing. After I would yell at her or, like, you know, lecture her about something, all I would hear is my mother's voice in my head repeating the same things to me. And so when it comes to healing, it's a never-ending cycle. It's something that we're going to have to work on for the rest of our lives. We heal from one thing, but then we're going to have to heal from a different thing. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if we do right or wrong, or if we do bad or good. There are still going to be people out there, family members included, who will never get this image of you outside of, you know, out of their minds. And that's completely okay. But I'm sharing this with you because I don't want you to sit in this category and see yourself as being a rebel or see yourself as being a palai as a bad thing. You were a rebel. You were a palai because you knew as a child, deep down in your heart, that you were meant for something more. Whatever that is, you need to wear those names. The name of being a palai, the name of being a rebel, the name of being a divorcee. You need to wear those names proudly, because you know what? Fuck what they say. Whether it's your parents, love them, right? Love our parents, love our family, love our friends, love our cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents, whoever it is. Love them. But it's okay to love them from afar if they are not accepting of who it is that you have become. Sure, you might have acted out here and there as a kid because you didn't know what else to do. You were confused. And now that you're an adult, now that you've made something out of yourself, now that you've been trying and you've been healing all these years and you've been trying to do so much good to try to prove to them that you are a better person, sometimes people just don't see that. And that is okay. I'm here to tell you right now, that is okay. You don't need to listen to their narrative. What they say about you, what they believe about you is not you. You need to take the rebel in you. You need to take the polite in you and switch that narrative. Switch that narrative around. You are a rebel. You are a polite because you did not let societal norms, generational trauma identify who you are. You are your own person, and you know that. You've known that since you were a child. Here's another thing that I want to talk about. You are probably someone who never fit in to any circle. You had a lot of friends, yes, but if we're trying to talk about having a friend group that you just like really, really clicked with, you never had that. Growing up, you never had that friend group where you could be like, oh yeah, these are my girls. This is my tribe. These are my bitches. You had a lot of friends, yes, but you just didn't quite fit into just the one friend group. You know what I mean? The reason for that is because you were never meant to fit in. You were never meant to fit in. The universe, God, whoever it is that you believe in, they created you to be different because you were meant for so much more than to just fit in. The truth is, people like you, people like us, we don't find our tribes until adulthood, until we are ready to reach that next level. When you start to reach that next level, when you are starting to level up, when you are finally able to drop what everybody else has ever thought about you and truly start to believe in yourself, that is when you will start to level up. That is when you will finally start to find the people who belong in your life. It is very true what they say. It is very lonely at the top. It really is. And why is that? It's because not a lot of people understand us, and that's okay. Like I said earlier, they don't understand it. They don't see your vision. They don't believe in you because it was not meant for them. That is why. The universe put your dreams, your thoughts into your head because they were meant for you. Anyone else around you, whether it's a family member, a friend, a coworker, a colleague, a loved one, whoever it is, if they don't understand your vision, it just wasn't meant for them. And when you finally have the courage to lock in on your dreams, on your goals, and you start to work on yourself to really, really, really become that person that you were meant to become, the people who are not meant to be in your life, the people who don't understand your journey, the people who don't understand your dreams, they will naturally fall off. Either you are going to learn how to set your boundary and cut them off, or they will drop off on their own because they're going to look at you and be like, oh, oftentimes than not, it's a close friend or a close family member. Oftentimes than not, they're going to be like, oh, you think you're too good for us now. You just think you're too good just because, you started healing or you started your business or whatever, you all of a sudden now think you're too good for me. Okay, well, clearly you are miserable in your own life in one way, shape, or form for you to project that towards me. I never once said anything about you. Like, this is my journey. I'm doing this for me. And yeah, I set boundaries because I need to set boundaries in order to concentrate, in order to work on myself. Like, I'm tired of being the one giving all the time and getting nothing in return. So now I'm choosing me. I'm choosing to pour into me now. I'm choosing not to pour from an empty cup anymore. But now that I'm finally choosing me, because you're not getting my time, you're not getting my attention anymore, because I finally started choosing myself over everyone else. Now you have a problem with that. these are not the types of people that you want in your circle anyways. I've had a lot of students come to me and be like, hey, you know, I'm struggling because my family members, the ones who I thought were going to be my biggest supporters, they actually aren't. And, you know, those students, they have a hard time accepting that. And I have to, you know, explain to them that it's part of the journey. Unfortunately, it is part of the journey. When you start to level up, people around you, especially those closest to you, this is when you are going to start to see their true colors. Because they're either going to 100% support you in what you do, even if they don't understand it. They're like, hey, if it makes you happy, if you believe in this, go for it. Or they're going to be the ones who are like, oh, well, I see you're doing this now, so I get free shit, right? Oh, you don't have time for us anymore because, like, you're so busy doing you. Oh, I see how it is. Like, can't y'all just be happy for me? Like, if you were a real friend, if you were a real family member, you would be happy for me. You, even if you don't understand it, you would see how much passion I have, and you would, all I need is for you to say, hey, go for it. That's all you gotta say. But, you know, now there's people who they're just so lost in their own journey. They're so miserable in their own lives to where they cannot accept when someone else is doing better than them. You know that saying, misery loves company or something along those lines? It's so true. They only wanted to be your friend. They only wanted to be close to you. They only wanted a relationship with you when you were suffering too, because they could relate to you. But now that you've actually taken the time to work on yourself, whether it could be something as simple as losing weight, right? You're working out more, you're eating cleaner, you're looking better. They get jealous because they're not doing it. It could be business related. You just started your business. Now all of your time and your attention is on your business. You don't have time to go out with your girls anymore. You don't have time to go out and get drunk every weekend anymore, because on the weekends, instead of choosing to go get drunk, yes, it was so fun and like you had so many great memories, but instead of choosing that, you are choosing yourself. You are choosing to lock in, to level up, and you gave up the late night drunk nights for some late night self-care, for some business meetings. Like, you gave up a lifestyle for a new lifestyle, and they're not okay with that. So at the end of the day, the lesson that I want you to get out of this video is that all of those names that they called you, being a rebel, being a polite, being the girly who never wanted to listen, who, you know, ran away. Girl, I get you. I totally get you. Their narrative has nothing to do with your self-worth. Their narrative of you is wrong because you know your truth. Be a fucking rebel. Be a fucking polite, because you know what? It is your life. You were a rebel because you knew deep down you were meant for so much more in this fucking life. It is your life. You live it. You get to choose how you live it. You get to set your own rules. You get to set your own goals. And guess what? At the end of the day, ain't nobody saving you except for you. So fuck what they say. Focus on you. Lock in. We're already in Q4 of 2025. Okay, so whatever it is that your goals are, lock in. Lock that shit in 1,000%, because you know what? The end of this year, we got 3 months left in the year. By the end of this year, you are going to become a changed woman, an unrecognizable woman. Why? Because you decided to fuck what everybody else says and focus on yourself. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for being here. I love you, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.